Hello everyone, welcome to Civilianz. So today we are going to discuss some questions in Geotechnical Engineering. Most of the questions taken here are previous year SSC questions. So let's start. So this is the first question. So just pause the video and look at the question and find the answer. After that, listen to my discussion. Okay, let's start. A residual soil is one formed in a place by the weathering of rock at the location. So we know that based on transportation, soil is divided into residual soil and transported soil. The soil which is formed at one location and transported to another location is called as transported soil. The soil which is formed at one place and stay in that place is called as residual soil. So the correct answer is option B. Look at it. With little or no movement of the individual soil particles. So the correct option for this question is option B. So next we can go to the next question. Soil transported by wind is called. So the options are, first option is aeolian soil, and we all know that aeolian soil is transported by wind. So the correct answer is option A. Aeolian soil is transported and deposited by wind. Coming to alluvial soil, it is deposited by river. Marine soil is deposited by sea. And lacustrine soil is deposited by lake. So the correct answer is option A, aeolian soil. Next question. If the soil sample is having a porosity of 50%, so given porosity is equal to 50%, N is equal to 50% or is equal to 0.5. The degree of saturation is 90%. So S value is given as 90% or 0.9. Then what is the percentage air voids? Percentage air voids. We all know the equation for percentage air voids as Na is equal to N into AC. N into AC, where N is the porosity and AC is the air content. So here N value is given as 0.5 and S is given as 0.9. We all know that S plus AC is equal to 1 and AC is equal to 1 minus S is equal to 1 minus 0.9 is equal to 0.1. So substituting this value, we get N is equal to 0.5 into AC is equal to 0.1 is equal to 0.05 is equal to 0.05 into 100% is equal to 5%. So the correct answer is option A. So next question. In a soil, if the volume of voids is equal to volume of solids. So given volume of voids is equal to volume of solids. We all know that total volume is equal to volume of voids plus volume of solids. So since volume of solids is equal to volume of voids, we can write as total volume is equal to 2 into volume of voids. Now, then value of void ratio. First question is value of void ratio. So E is equal to volume of voids divided by volume of solids. Since volume of solids is equal to volume of voids, we can substitute this as VV by VV. It is equal to 1. The second question is porosity. We know that porosity is equal to volume of voids by total volume. So volume of voids divided by total volume is equal to 2 into volume of voids, since volume of solids is equal to volume of voids. 2 into VV is equal to 1 by 2 or is equal to 0.5. So the value of void ratio is equal to 1 and value of porosity is equal to 0.5. So the correct answer is option B. Okay. Next question. If a soil has liquid limit 65%, given liquid limit is equal to 65%, plastic limit is equal to 30%. Plastic limit is equal to 30%. Shrinkage limit is equal to 25%. Shrinkage limit is equal to 25%. And it has natural moisture content of 45%. So water content is equal to 45%. The liquidity index of the soil. The question is liquidity index. Liquidity index is equal to natural moisture content minus plastic limit divided by liquid limit minus plastic. So this is the equation for liquidity index. It's a simple question, we can just substitute. So natural moisture content is given as 45% minus, and plastic limit is given as 30% divided by liquid limit is given as 65% and plastic limit is given as 30%. So 45 minus 13 is equal to 15 divided by 35. It is equal to 0.428. So the correct answer is none of these. Okay. So next question. Okay. If the water content of fully saturated soil means S is equal to 1. Soil mass is 100%. So water content is given as 100%. The void ratio of the sample is, the question is void ratio of the sample is what? We all know the equation E is equal to Wg by S. Given W is equal to 100%. W is equal to 100% is equal to 1 and S is given as 1. Since fully saturated, S value is given as 1. So E is equal to 1 into G divided by 1 is equal to G. So E value is equal to G. So the correct answer is option B. The void ratio is equal to specific gravity of the soil. Next question. The moisture content of the soil below which volume becomes constant is called. So the question is the point after which the volume of soil do not change is called as shrinkage limit. We all know that. We take a dry soil. It will contain soil mass and air spaces. When we are applying water to the soil, the water will fill these air spaces. So the total volume will not change as water is replacing the air in it. Okay, so first of all, we are taking a dry soil, the volume of dry soil. And then we are increasing the water. We are pouring water into this so that water will fill these air voids and air will be released. So there will not be any change in the volume. And after some time, all the voids will be filled with water. After that, the volume come to increase. The point below which there is no volume change is called as shrinkage limit. So the correct answer is option C. Next question. The ratio of saturated unit weight to dry unit weight of soil is 1.25. So the ratio of saturated unit weight to dry unit weight. So gamma sat by gamma dry is equal to 1.25. If the specific gravity of the soil, capital G, right? The specific gravity of the soil is 2.65. The question is void ratio of the soil, the value of E. Okay, so we know the equation of gamma sat. Gamma sat is equal to gamma W into G plus E divided by 1 plus E. And gamma dry is equal to G gamma W by 1 plus E. So when we are dividing these two equations, gamma W will cancel and the equation 1 plus E will also cancel. So we will get that G plus E divided by G plus E divided by G plus E divided by G is equal to gamma sat by gamma dry. The value of gamma sat by gamma dry is given as 1.25. Okay, so we can write as the value of G is given here as 2.65. So 2.65 plus E divided by 2.65 is equal to 1.25. We can just cross multiply. We'll get as 2.65 plus E is equal to 1.25 into 2.65. Okay, so we can put this 2.65 in the next side. So we can get E is equal to 1.25 into 2.65 minus 2.65. The value is 0.6625. So the correct answer is option C. Not confuse this with option A, okay? Next question. So read the question. The void ratio of the sample is given by 0.58. E is equal to 0.58. What is the porosity of the soil sample? The value of N is, what is the value of N? We know that N is equal to E by 1 plus E is equal to 0.58 divided by 1 plus 0.58. It is equal to 0.367. So the correct answer is option B. Okay, so we can go to next question. So the question is the maximum dry density and optimum moisture content. So maximum dry density and optimum moisture content is given by 1.65 gram per cc and 2.50. What is the percentage of air content? So the question is, what is the percentage of air content? Okay. At OMC, if the specific gravity of particle is 2.6, given G is equal to 2.65. Okay, so we can start with the basic equation. We know that gamma dry is equal to G gamma W by 1 plus E. Okay, so here gamma dry is given as 1.65 is equal to G value is given as 2.65 into gamma W. We know that gamma W is equal to 1 gram per cc. Since the unit of gamma dry is given in gram per cc, we can substitute the value of gamma W also in gram per cc. So into 1 divided by 1 plus C gives we can just cross multiply. 1 plus E is equal to 2.65 divided by 1.65. Is equal to 1.65 is equal to 1.606. So 1 plus E is equal to 1.606. E is equal to 1.606 minus 1 is equal to 0.606. So here the question is, what is the air content? So there is no equation to find that immediately, but we can use another equation. E equal to Wg by S. E is equal to Wg by S, and from here we can write S is equal to Wg by E. Given the moisture content as 20.5, we can, so water content is given as 0.205 or 20.5%. So 0.205 into G value is given as 2.65. We got the E value as 0.606. We got the value as 0.8964 is equal to 89.64%. 89.64%. S value is 89.64%. So we all know that S plus AC is equal to 1 or 100%. So we can write AC is equal to 100 minus S is equal to 100 minus 89.64. It is equal to approximate 10.4%. So the correct answer is option A. Okay. An airport runway fill needs 8,50,000 meter cube of soil compacted to a void ratio of 0.7. So for a runway, we require 8,50,000 meter cube volume. So volume of soil required is 8,50,000. Okay. Of compact soil to a void ratio of 0.7. So it is compacted to a void ratio of 0.7. The required soil is taken from a borrow pit having an in situ void ratio of 0.8. So the soil is taken from a borrow pit and the void ratio in that borrow pit was E is equal to 0.8. So in this question, the volume of soil is not given. The volume is not given. Okay. If the transportation cost is rupees 10, the transportation cost is rupees 10 per meter cube, the estimate cost for filling the work. So the question is, how much cost will be required in this work? So we know that the soil is taken from one place and placed to another place and it is compacted. When compacting, the voids will decrease, but the volume of solids will not change if you do anything. So the volume of solids in the borrow pit will be equal to volume of solids at the airport runway. So this is the only equation we have. So we know that the total volume is equal to volume of voids plus volume of solids. We can take volume of solids outside. So we'll get volume of voids by volume of solids plus volume of solids by volume of solids. So it's equal to Vs into volume of voids by volume of solids is equal to void ratio plus 1. Whereas we can write it as Vs into 1 plus E. Okay. V is equal to Vs into 1 plus E. So Vs is equal to V by 1 plus E. So Vs in the first case is equal to Vs in the second case. So we can take this as the first case and the second case borrowed. Okay, so V2 by 1 plus E2 is equal to V1 by 1 plus E1. Okay, so V2 is equal to V1 by 1 plus E1 into 1 plus E2. Given value of V1 is equal to 8,50,000 into E2. E2 is equal to 0.8. So 1 plus 0.8 is equal to 1.8 divided by E1 is equal to 0.7. So divide by 1 plus E1 is equal to 1.7. So we the answer is 9 lakhs. M.tech. But the question is not what is the volume. The question is what is the rate. So for 1 meter cube, the rate is 10. So for 9 lakh, the cost will be 9 lakh into 10 is equal to 90 lakhs. So the option is option B. Okay. So next question. During compaction, it's a compaction process, the void ratio of the soil is reduced from 0.95 to 0.65. So the initial void ratio was 0.95. It is compacted and the void ratio has changed to 0.65. Okay. Then corresponding decrease in volume of soils. So the question is what is the corresponding decrease in volume of soils, and it's given percentage. So we want to find the percentage decrease in volume of solids. So in the previous question we already said Vs is always a constant, and we can write V by 1 plus E1 is equal to V2 by 1 plus E2. So we can write V1, we can just cross multiply this, right? V1 by V2 is equal to 1 plus E1 by 1 plus E2. So we can write as V1 by V2 is equal to 1 plus 0.95 divided by 1 plus 0.65. So we can get the answer as 1.1818. Okay. So V1 by V2 is equal to 1.1818. So what is the volume change? The initial volume was V1 and now the volume is V2. So the volume decreased is V1 minus V2. And we want to find in percentage, right? So divide by V1 into 100. So we can write this as V1 by V1 minus V2 by V1 into 100 is equal to 1 minus V2 by V1 into 100. We know that V1 by V2 is equal to 1.1818. So V2 by V1 is equal to 1 by 1.1818. So we can substitute 1 minus 1 by 1.1818. It's equal to 0.1538 into 100 is equal to 15.38 percentage. Okay, so correct answer is option A, 15.38 percentage. So we can move to the next question. Okay, the liquid limit and plastic limit of clay material is 45% and 25% respectively. So given liquid limit is equal to 45% and plastic limit is equal to 25%. So the question is, what is the activity of clay material if 20% of the particles are of size less than 2 microns? So 20% of the particles are size less than 2 microns. So we know that activity is equal to plasticity index divided by percentage finer than 2 micron. Percentage finer than 2 micron or otherwise clay particles. Okay, so plasticity index is equal to liquid limit minus plastic limit is equal to 45 minus 25 is equal to 20%. So it is 20 divided by, and the percentage passing through 2 micron is 20%. So the answer is 1. So the activity value is 1 and the correct answer is option B. Okay, now we can move to the next question. So the total and effective stresses at a depth of 5 meter. Total and effective stresses at a depth of 5 meter below the top level of water in a pond. Respectively are. So it's a pond, right? It's a pond and we want to find the total pressure and effective pressure at a depth of 5 meter. As there is no soil particles here inside a pond, we can write the effective pressure is equal to 0. So we can write the effective pressure is equal to 0. So the total pressure is equal to effective pressure plus pore pressure. So we want to find the pore pressure. Pore pressure is equal to gamma W into H. Okay, pore pressure is equal to gamma W into H, and in this answers it's given in kilogram per centimeter square. So we can just write gamma W as 1 gram per cc. We can take gamma W as 1 gram per cc. So U is equal to 1 into H. Height is 5 meter. We can take it as 500 centimeters is equal to 500 gram per centimeter square. 500 gram per centimeter square, but the option is given in kilogram per centimeter square. So we can divide 500 divided by 1000. We want to convert gram to kilogram. 500 divided by 1000 kilogram per centimeter square is equal to 0.5. So the total pressure is 0.5 and the effective pressure is 0. Since there is no soil inside, the effective pressure is equal to 0. So the correct answer is option B. The total pressure is 0.5 and the effective pressure is equal to 0. So now we can move to the next question. In this question, the viscosity and unit weight of the percolating fluid. The viscosity and unit weight of the percolating fluid are reduced to 65% and 95%. So eta 2 is equal to viscosity, right? Viscosity has reduced to 65%. It's equal to 0.65 eta 1. And unit weight has reduced to 0.95. So gamma 2 is equal to 0.95 gamma 1. So it's given the question of the percolating fluid. Respectively, due to the rise in temperature, this value decreases because the temperature was increased. Okay. If other things remains constant, all other things remains constant, the coefficient of permeability will be. What is the coefficient of permeability? It will increase or decrease? That's the question. So we know that K is equal to C d10 square, C into d10 square, gamma by eta into E cube by 1 plus E cube. All other factors remains constant. This is constant. This is constant. Given the question, right? So we can write K is proportional to gamma by eta. Okay. So we can write this as K2 by K1 is equal to gamma 2 by eta 2 into K1, and so reverse eta 1 by gamma 1. Okay, we can just substitute gamma 2 is equal to 195 into gamma 1 into eta 1 is equal to eta 1, eta 2 is equal to 0.65 eta 1 into gamma 1. We can cut gamma 1, here there is a gamma 1, eta 1, so we will get as 0.95 by 0.65. 0.95 by 0.65 is equal to 1.461. 1.461. So K2 is equal to 1.461 K1. K2 is equal to 1.461 K1. So the increase means K2 minus K1 by K1 is equal to 1.46 minus 1.46 K1 minus K1 by K1 is equal to 1.46 minus 1 by 1 is equal to 0.46 or 46%, right? %, increase by 46%, and the option is not right, so the answer is none of these. So the increase in permeability is 46%. So next question. Okay, pycnometer method is used to determine. We all know that pycnometer method is used to determine both water content and specific gravity. So the correct answer is option D, specific gravity and water content. Next question. Okay. In a falling head permeability test, in a duration of 3 hours, the time is given as 3 hours. The initial head is 1000 mm, H1 is given as 1000 mm and is dropped to 350 mm. H2 is 350 mm. Okay, H1 is given as 1000 mm and H2 is given as 350 mm. The diameter of standpipe is 0.5 centimeter. Diameter of standpipe is given as 0.5 centimeter. So D is equal to 0.5 centimeter is equal to 5 mm, and the length and diameter of spoil specimen is given as 20 centimeter and 10 centimeter. Okay. So the diameter of standpipe is given as 5 mm. So the area is pi by 4 into 5 square is equal to 19.63, and for the soil specimen, the diameter of soil specimen is given as 10 centimeter. 10 centimeter is equal to 100 mm. So the area of soil specimen is pi by 4 into 100 square is equal to 7853.98. 7853.98 area is given us. So what is the coefficient of permeability? So question is, what is the coefficient of permeability? We know the answer equation is K is equal to 2.303 2.303 AL by 80 log H1 by H2. So we can substitute as 2.303 into area is given as 19.63. L is equal to 20 centimeter is equal to 200 mm into 200 divided by capital area is 7853.98 into time is given as 3 hours. Time is equal to 3 hours is equal to 3 hours to minute in 60 and minute to second into 60. So 6 into 6 36 108 00 108 00 log H1 is 1000 and H2 is 350. So we can just substitute. So the answer is 4.86 into 10 raised to minus 5. 4.86 into 10 raised to minus 5 millimeter per second. Millimeter per second. So the correct answer is option B. Okay. So next question. If the void ratio and discharge velocity for a soil is 0.5 and 6 into 10 raised to minus 7 respectively, what is the value of seepage velocity? Simple question, right? So we know that seepage velocity is equal to discharge velocity divided by porosity. Discharge velocity divided by porosity, but porosity is not given. Void ratio is given. E is given. So we know that N is equal to E by 1 plus E. So the value of E is 0.5. 0.5 divided by 1 plus 0.5 is equal to 0.5 divided by 1.5. We can cancel this and it will be 1 by 3. Okay. So V is equal to 6 into 10 raised to minus 7. 6 into 10 raised to minus 7 divided by N value is 1 by 3 and the 3 goes above and it is equal to 18 into 10 raised to minus 7 meter per second. 18 into 10 raised to minus 7 meter per second and the answer is option D. Okay. So next question. A uniform sand stratum 2.5 meter thick has specific gravity of 2.62 and natural void ratio is 0.62. So the hydraulic head required to cause quicksand condition in the sand stratum is. So the question is, what is the hydraulic head? Okay. So we know that for quicksand condition to happen, the hydraulic gradient must be equal to critical hydraulic gradient. For quicksand condition to happen, the hydraulic gradient must be equal to critical hydraulic gradient. So IC is equal to G minus 1 by 1 plus E. So value of G is given as 2.62. 2.62 minus 1 divided by 1 plus E value is given as 0.62. 0.62 is equal to 1.62 divided by 1.62 is equal to 1. So the critical hydraulic gradient is equal to 1. And here we want to find the hydraulic head, right? So critical hydraulic gradient is equal to the head divided by the length. So we can write hydraulic gradient is equal to 1. Critical hydraulic gradient is equal to 1 and delta H divided by L is equal to 2.5 meter thick. So delta H is equal to 2.5 meters. We can just cross multiply, right? So the correct answer is option C. So this is our last question. A given coastal soil has Emax is equal to 0.85. Given the value of Emax is equal to 0.85 and E minimum is equal to 0.50. In the field, the soil is compacted to a mass density of 1800 kilogram per meter cube and at a water content of 8%. So water content is 8% and the density is given as 1800. Take mass density of water as 1000 kilogram per meter cube and the value of G is 2.7, and the relative density of soil is, so we want to find the relative density. So we know that relative density is equal to E max minus E divided by E max minus E minimum. Okay, where E is the natural void ratio and E max is the maximum void ratio and E minimum is the minimum void ratio. So E max is given, E minimum is given, but the value of E is not given. So we can find the value of E. So here mass density is given. So we know the equation as gamma is equal to G gamma W into 1 plus W divided by 1 plus E. Here the unit is kilogram per meter cube. Okay, so it is actually rho, and water also it's kilogram per meter cube. So there is no problem. We can write 1800 is equal to, what is the value of G? G is equal to 2.7 into gamma W is 1000 into 1 plus water content is 8%. Water content is given as 8% is equal to 0.08. 0.08 divided by 1 plus E. So 1 plus E is equal to 2.7 into 1000 into 1.08 divided by 1800 equal to 1.62. So E is equal to 1.62 minus 1 is equal to 0.62. 0.62 E is equal to 0.62. So we can just substitute E max is equal to 0.85 minus E is equal to 0.62 divided by E max is equal to 0.85. E minimum is equal to 0.5. So we get the value as 0.6571 is equal to 65.71%. So the answer is option D, 65.71, option D. And this was the last question, and thank you.